Good evening, everybody.
Good
evening.
evening.
It is 7:01 p.m. right now. Middle Eastern,
Eastern Standard Time.
Middle Eastern time, right?
That was a good one.
Middle Eastern time. Let's see if you guys are paying attention. So, what time is it in the Middle East?
I have no idea.
Anyone know what time it is in the Middle East? Drop it in the chat box.
1 a.m.
Is it 1 a.m.?
It's like 6 hours ahead.
Some places 7.
Hmm.
Anyone know which country is the longest from us, hour-wise? I think it's Australia.
Mm-hmm.
They're like 12 or 13. They're like the next day,
Well, I think so, yeah.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Damn. Anyways,
Well, when you watch the ball drop,
which one?
yeah. New Year's Eve.
Comedy show, New Year's Eve. Okay. So if you're watching now, please go ahead and throw us a hashtag live. And if you're watching later, please go ahead and throw us a hashtag replay. Also, let's go ahead and put our name in the chat box, okay? So we can see who's here. If any of our clients are here, that would be great to know. And then we're going to get started, okay? We're also going to be having a challenge coming up soon, a 14-day challenge. I believe it's going to start April. Let me check here. 1 second. April. We'll give you more details as we go along. It's kind of 3 weeks out. April 1st, right? This Sunday, are we doing the promotion at DeMarco's?
Yes.
The 17th? Or is it the 25th we're going to do
the 17th is DeMarco's.
So then we're going to do the challenge the 25th.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So March 25th. March 25th, mark it in your calendars. There's going to be a free 14-day challenge to help you guys lose weight. So if that sounds exciting to you, mark it in your calendar. Okay. We'll be putting out some more information as we go along. But just in case, if you're wondering, what it's like to lose weight online for 14 days and have it all free, your nutrition, your exercise, and your mindset, accountability, all taken care of for 14 days. Make sure you save that date in your calendar. It's in a couple of weeks. Okay. If you're watching on Instagram and you would like access to this, please go ahead and join our private Facebook community where you can get more resources and more details about this information this evening. Okay. We don't have a lot of people on tonight, unfortunately. Sometimes that could happen. So we're going to go through the presentation. We're going to bring our friend Gardy up also a little later, 7:30 p.m. So stay tuned for that if you want to hear what it's like for a person that is a business owner, or you're a very busy guy, busy woman, and you're having a hard time figuring out how to stay in shape. He might be the right guy to listen to. He runs a business as well. He's helped us with our cars. And cars can be a stressful thing for a lot of people, right? Especially when they break down. So
That's for sure.
he probably deals with a lot of people who are pissed off, having to bring their cars to him unexpectedly. But that's just the way sometimes life goes, we don't always, technology or electronics don't always work the way we want them to. As a matter of fact, just before this episode or training, the filter fell off. A lot of things was going on here last second. So our suggestion to you, if you're ever doing anything that's electronic wise and you're not that savvy, give yourself enough time so you're not rushed. Okay. Excellent. So we're going to get started with tonight's training. I'm going to bring up Danielle will read from the slides. I'll chime in as necessary to kind of piggyback off what the slide says and add my 2 cents or 3 cents into it. Again, if you're watching now, throw a hashtag live. And if you're watching later, throw a hashtag replay. Okay. We also reward people who post their biggest takeaways inside our private Facebook community. So after the training, if you got value and you learned something, we highly suggest you go into our private Facebook community. You can access the link on our bio on Instagram, and you can post your biggest takeaway from tonight's live training. We're going to discuss carbohydrates and sodium intake and how that affects weight loss, weight gain. And hey, Daniel, what's up, bro? And how it you can retain water or release water with sodium in particular. But we'll talk about all that this evening. Okay, it could be very helpful for someone that wants to know a little bit about nutrition and how it all works. Okay, what's up, man? What's up, Russ? What's up, bro? All right, so let's get started. Water retention from carbs and sodium. Okay, in addition, if you're on now, what I'd like for you to do is go ahead and tag anyone who you feel would get value from tonight's live training. So just go ahead and tag them in right now. Okay. And so some more people can come on as well and listen to this. Okay. All right. So we're going to get started. We're going to move to the next slide and go ahead.
Carbohydrates can cause water retention in the body through a process called glycogen storage. When you consume carbohydrates, they are broken down into glucose, which is used as the body's primary source of energy. Excess glucose that is not immediately needed for energy is stored in the liver and muscles as glycogen.
So just to see if people know, again, if you're watching now, glycogen. Does anyone know what glycogen is? If you know what glycogen is, I'd like to see you put it in the chat box. Curious. What do you think glycogen is? I'll give it a couple of seconds, see if anyone is going to comment on what glycogen is. It's a fancy terminology. I'm sure you've heard it before. You can even take a guess at it. What do you think glycogen is? Very good, Russell. It's sugar. It's sugar in general. Glycogen is another fancy way of saying sugar or energy. So when we consume carbs, in particular, it converts into, let's say you eat a bowl of pasta or a bowl of oatmeal, even. Okay, it converts into sugar into your bloodstream. Okay, and the liver has to process that. Are we making sense? So the liver has a big function when it comes to carbohydrates. It stores and it processes glucose, sugar. Make sense, everybody? Okay, so let's move on to the next slide.
For every gram of glycogen stored in the body, approximately 2 to 3 grams of water are also stored with it. This means that when you consume a high carbohydrate meal or follow a high carb diet, your body stores more glycogen along with water.
Mm-hmm. So how many of you realize, and tell me if this has happened to you, you've been on a diet for some time, you realize that your weight is coming down, and then what happens is you, let's say, have a bag of potato chips, or you eat some fries, or whatever it is you eat. Let's say you kind of go off your meal plan, whatever that meal plan is, or whatever you're staying consistent with, and you step on the scale. Do you guys ever realize that your weight goes up and down? Do you guys ever realize that your weight goes up and down? If yes, say yes in the chat box. Okay, like to hear from you guys. Yes? No?
Maybe so.
So when we eat carbs, okay, when we eat carbs, right, it causes water retention. That's why a lot of women and men on our program, we control their carbs to a degree because we don't want too much water retention. And we're going to get into what water retention does with our appearance, the way we feel, and fat loss in particular. Okay? So let's move on to the next slide.
As a result, consuming a high amount of carbohydrates can lead to temporary water retention in the body. This can cause your body weight to fluctuate and may contribute to bloating or a feeling of puffiness.
Anyone ever feel that way after they eat a meal? Let's say they go to a restaurant, they have a bowl of pasta, some fries, Anyone ever feel that way? Puffy, bloated,
Distended.
especially like if you haven't eaten that kind of food in a while. If you have, say yes in the chat box. Yes, for sure. Big difference. I don't eat much anymore. So when I do, I definitely can tell. Thanksgiving dinner.
Yes, that's a good big one.
Exactly.
Lots of carbs and sugar consumed on Thanksgiving.
Correct. Very good. So in what happens is the water retention in our body makes us feel a little bit heavier, puffier, and just we weigh less. We weigh more. So being mindful of how much carbs we eat is essential in the weight loss process. And we're going to get into the mechanics soon. Okay.
It's important to note that this water retention is temporary and typically resolves once the excess glycogen is used up or stored. Glycogen is depleted through physical activity or a lower carbohydrate intake. Drinking plenty of water and staying hydrated can also help regulate water balance in the body.
Okay. So pretty much reduce it like Danielle mentioned, it causes water retention. It's temporary, right? That's why you ever go on low carb diets? Anyone in here ever go on low carb diets? If you've gone on low carb diets, put low carb in the chat box. And I'd like to hear what your experience has been once you came off the low carb diet. Anyone? I know there's some people on Instagram. And again, you can go ahead and tag anybody who you feel would get value from this lesson. Someone who wants to know more about how many carbs to eat. You know, if someone who's complaining they're puffy a lot or feel bloated and they don't know why, just go ahead and tag them in the training tonight, please, right now. So anyone see their weight go up and down on the scale when after they eat carbs? Or been on low carb diets? Anyone ever tried low carb diets? Let us know. Low carb. I particularly done Atkins diet, right? My weight comes off pretty quickly when I don't eat carbs, and significantly. But as soon as I eat carbs, I gain the weight back on the scale. So if you've experienced that, we'd like to hear from you as well. So you could just say me in the chat box. That would be great. Okay. All right. So let's move on. Okay.
In addition to glycogen storage, carbohydrates can also cause water retention in the body through the process of osmosis. When you consume carbohydrates, they are broken down into sugars like glucose and fructose. These sugars are then absorbed into the bloodstream and can increase the concentration of solutes in the blood.
So it's not just causing water retention in the body, but also in the blood. The blood gets more concentrated with glucose when we consume carbohydrates. Okay, that can result to diabetes if we do it too often, when our blood sugar gets too high. Also, when it gets too low, we may feel weird. So this has a lot to do with it. Okay, when we start to eat too much carbs, it's like we're going to pack on weight. Pretty much is the way to tell you to do it. And that's how a lot of Americans in particular, we're going to get into the sodium part of it soon. It's very easy to put on weight with carbohydrates because, as you see, you store water. And just imagine the glass being full of water and you never stop letting the water go down. So you're constantly running the faucet on the cup, and the cup is just constantly overspilling. When we reduce carbs, what happens is we bring the level of water down from the cup. Once the level of water is down from the cup, then we can actually start to see some differences on the scale, even in our body, feeling a little bit less bloated, and we have a shot at weight loss. But if we're keeping that cup full the entire time throughout days and weeks on end, which is what we do, what I've done, okay, it's very hard to see weight loss. It's not going to happen. Is what I'm saying making sense? If what I'm saying so far is making sense, say making sense in the chat box. Let's move on.
As a result of this increased solute concentrate, water is drawn into the bloodstream from the surrounding tissues through osmosis to maintain the balance of solutes. This can lead to temporary water retention in the body, particularly in the blood vessels and tissues.
So you see the blood vessels, ladies and gentlemen, and the tissues also get filled up with water, right? So that's a lot of pressure on the organs and a lot of pressure on the body when we gain weight, especially on the joints too. Okay? So being mindful of carbohydrates is essential in weight loss. Again, I see some more people are joining. If you guys can be so kind enough that the people who are just joining to tag anyone who you feel will get great value from tonight's live training, which is carbohydrates and sodium and how it affects weight loss in particular. So if you like carbs, if you like salty foods, we're going to get into all that on how you can manipulate it in your favor so you can lose weight or gain weight. So tag anyone who you feel will get great value. Okay? All right, let's move on to the next.
Furthermore, certain types of carbohydrates, such as refined carbohydrates and sugar rich foods, can also contribute to inflammation in the body.
Mm,
Inflammation can trigger the release of certain hormones, such as aldosterone, which can affect the body's fluid balance and potentially lead to water retention.
okay, so the kind of carbs we eat is important. If we eat carbs that raise our sugar quickly or give sugar into our bloodstream quickly, we get quicker water retention. If we eat carbs that are less, turn into sugar less, like slower, then we experience less water retention. So, for example, sweet potatoes,
Complex
correct,
carbs.
right, and we're going to get into that. Complex carbs releases sugar into the bloodstream slower, and things like, let's say, candy bars, cherries, bananas, mangoes, right? They
Grapes.
grapes, right? They quickly raise your blood sugar, and that quickly can cause water retention. Okay, so sometimes fruits are healthy, they are, but it has sugar. Even if it's so-called healthy sugar, it still counts. Okay, so again, being mindful. I'm not saying to eliminate carbs, but to eat in an amount that is useful for you. And if anybody knows how much that is for each person, I'd love to hear from you guys. Curious. So if you're, let's say, a 200-pound male, how many grams of carbs should you eat throughout the day? Let's see if anybody in the audience knows. I'd like to see. Okay. All right. So let's go on to the next slide.
It's important to be mindful of your carbohydrate intake and focus on consuming complex carbohydrates such as whole grains, fruits, and vegetables, which provide essential nutrients and fiber without causing excessive water retention. Additionally, maintaining a balanced diet, staying hydrated, and engaging in regular physical activity can help manage water retention and promote overall health.
Okay. Why do you think that is, ladies and gentlemen? Tough crowd. Come on. Why do you think that is? Why do you think being mindful of carbohydrates, right, and exercising and drinking more water can help maintain weight? I would say no more than 30 grams
Of carbs.
of carbs. So, Russell, it depends on how much you weigh, but 200 grams for a 200-pound male, I would say it's okay to give them about 200 grams of carbs if they want to still lose weight. That's in the condition that they're exercising. Now, why do you guys think exercising will help you uh, allow you to eat more carbs? Anyone know based on the information we gave you? Come on, Facebook. There's a lot of Instagram participation. I see some people live on Facebook. We would love to hear from you. You know, we want to see. If you really don't know, that's one thing. But if you can participate and let us know in the chat box your opinion, we'd love to hear it. You know, so go ahead and let us know why you feel by exercising it would help with reducing carbs or help you with being able to eat more carbs. Anyone? Anyone? Very good. Who was that? I'd like to see who you are. Can you put your name in the chat box, please? I want to see if it's one of our clients. Very good, Kelly. You burn off sugar and carbs. You see, our clients are learning something. That's good. Because of your body needs those carbs, especially if you're very good, Russell. Russell is another client of ours. And you see, I like to pick your guys' brain sometimes and see what you're learning and what you know. So it's okay to eat carbs, just in moderation, and doing some exercise. Doing some exercise will help with that water retention. So you can actually eat a little bit more carbs. Very good, Kelly. Very good, Russell.
Good job.
Okay.
Sodium plays a crucial role in maintaining the body's electrolyte balance and is essential for proper nerve and muscle function. When there is an excess of sodium in the body, the kidneys work to filter out the excess and excrete it through urine. However, if the intake of sodium is consistently high, the kidneys may struggle to keep up, leading to increased water retention.
Who loves salty foods in here? We're moving to salt now, sodium. And don't be shy. I love salty foods, potato chips. I love salt on my food. Not too salty, but I like a little salt. We were actually in a restaurant. I'm not going to mention any names. Okay.
The lentil soup.
Yeah. They brought us some lentil soup, and I felt like it needed a little bit more salt.
We needed to enhance it.
So I was kind of like on the fence about asking for salt from the chef because I didn't want him to think his food doesn't taste good. But sometimes salt enhances food, and especially if our taste palates have got used to it as a kid, we kind of crave it or want it on food. It kind of could be a little bit addictive, right? Some people crave more salty, some people crave more sweets, right? Depends on the type of person you are, but combining the two can lead to weight gain. Simple way to put it. When you mix sugar and salt together, which is what a lot of packaged foods have in them, a lot of tasty foods have in them. That's what we all kind of get accustomed to as children, right? Our parents usually give us those foods. Okay. We kind of crave it as we get older. We like it. Ketchup and fries. Great example. Pretzels. Pretzels and chocolate covered pretzels. So we're getting the taste of both worlds, but what we're doing is sugar quickly really adds carbs into the body, like we said, glucose into the bloodstream. And then the salt, on the other hand, raises the pressure for the kidneys to work harder to pump the water. Okay, so combining the two can very easily gain weight, lead to weight gain. Go ahead.
Excessive water retention can put strain on the heart and blood vessels, increasing the risk of conditions like hypertension and heart disease. It can also lead to edema, which is the accumulation of fluid in the body's tissues, causing swelling and discomfort.
So you see, that's why they say don't eat so much salty foods because it could raise your pressure. Because like we said, the kidneys have to work hard when the salt is if it's too much salt in the body, and it just constantly raises your pressure. So we have to be mindful of how much salt is useful. I always say 5 cranks of sea salt. This one that Russell mentioned, Celtic sea salt. Sea salt is good stuff, bro. Very good. Is because it has more minerals in it, so there's a little bit more. It's healthier. Okay. It's good to have salt, but in moderation. Again, 5 cranks we usually recommend for people on the program on their food, or to use condiments slightly that have sodium in it, but don't overdo it, because it could easily pack on water weight, raise blood pressure, and if you're having high carbs with it, you're going to gain weight easily. Okay. All right. Next, we're going to skip this. We're going to skip this. Yep. We're going to get down to the bottom of it soon. So let's go ahead and use this one. This one's good.
Furthermore, high levels of dietary sodium intake can also affect the body's overall fluid balance. Excessive sodium consumption can lead to an increase in extracellular fluid volume, which may manifest as bloating, puffiness, or swelling of the extremities.
So when we eat salt, we can get very puffy, very bloated. That's why if you've ever gone to a Chinese restaurant, I'm sure you guys experienced it. You may not even be eating a lot, a little bowl of rice, white rice, and some of that chicken, however they prepare their poultry or steak or meats, you feel bloated. You can feel bloated afterwards very easily. And it's not even a lot of food, but the sodium makes you retain water and you feel heavier.
Mm. Ever try to get your ring off after you've had like a meal with a lot of salt and your ring is stuck? You can't get it off. Your fingers swell.
Very good point, Danielle.
Feet, fingers.
They do. They swell up. So it's essential to keep salt at a look how pretty her water bottle is. Show the crowd. Sparkles. Okay.
Sparkly.
It's essential to watch sodium intake. Okay. And we can see why. It could cause a lot of problems. All right. Okay. So let's move on.
Managing sodium intake by consuming a diet rich in whole foods, low in processed and high sodium foods, and staying hydrated can help maintain a healthy fluid balance and reduce the risk of water retention. It's essential to be mindful of sodium intake, especially if you have conditions like hypertension or heart disease, as excessive sodium consumption can exacerbate water retention and related health issues.
I'm watching a bug crawl in front of me on the wall. It's bugging me out.
Should I get it?
Yeah, go get it, please. Here. We need a paper towel.
The
Yeah.
corner of my eye.
Okay. Next. So salt, excess salt. Okay. Sodium intake, hypertension, heart disease. Right. All good stuff. Anybody in here? Oh yes. You got it? Okay. All right. We lost my focus there. I'm sorry, ladies and gentlemen. Let me just see what's next. Okay. Carbohydrates and sodium can both have an impact on weight loss, but in different ways. Okay. Just to kind of wrap this up for you guys, because we're supposed to have a gentleman on soon, but I'm gonna kind of like wrap it up real quick. Okay. Anyone in here? Well, we'll kind of leave that question out for now. To wrap it up in 1 minute, okay, because Gardy is supposed to go on at 7:30. We're gonna bring him on. Okay. Okay. Carbohydrates, moderation. 200. So for every pound you weigh, keep it at about a gram to 0.75. Even you can go up a little bit from a gram depending on how active you are. And carbohydrates. Try to keep more whole foods in your body. Eat more whole grains, fibery carbs rather than fast processing carbs like the ones we mentioned. High certain fruits, candy bars, packaged foods, cereals.
Waffles.
Those all quickly raise insulin and sugar quickly. When is a good time? This is the question I was going to ask the group, to actually have high sugary carbs and high salty foods. I'm going to answer this one because Gardy's here, and we're going to bring him on in a minute. That will be right before the workouts. Right before the workouts, because we need insulin, we need energy, and we need sodium. Sodium actually raises the blood pressure to be able to work out. So that's why if you're going to ever eat junk food, usually have it right before you work out. Why? Because you can use the sugary carbs for the energy, and you can use the sodium for a good pump with training with weights, because you're going to have more water retention. So that's the key for tonight. Okay. We're going to bring Gardy on. Okay. Gardy has been our mechanic for the past 5 years. Okay. In Marlboro, New Jersey. You can check him out. He's called GNR Auto. Really nice guy, really spiritual guy from what I pick up when I speak to him. And I felt like he would be a great candidate to bring on tonight to share with you guys what it's like to be a family man and to run a business and to still stay in shape. So we're gonna bring him on now. Here he is. What's
Hey,
Hey,
up?
good,
How are you, man?
good evening. How's everything?
Everything's beautiful, bro. How are you?
Good. I just got settled in. I just walked in not long ago, so I had to get myself put together for
Excellent.
thank
Before you go, man, I want to just say people hate us. You know why?
it.
Because we're the people that we're the people that people need to spend money with in like the worst times, right?
you.
That's
Usually
true.
when you go to a car, when you go to a mechanic, it's like it's usually not a good thing, right? When you have to see a personal trainer, it's usually not a great thing. So it's easy to spend money on vacations, right? That shit is fun. It's easy to spend money on eating out and instant gratification, but fixing our bodies and fixing our cars, it's like, we're not so
That,
sure about it.
that
So
is true.
right? So here's Gardy. He's gonna share. He stays in shape. He might not be a weightlifter in particular, but he has his own methods. When I speak to him one on one in person of what he does, how he stays calm, how he runs a business, how he stays organized, doesn't blow the steam off his head, and still maintains a sound mind, and a sound physique. So the floor is all yours, brother.
All right. Thank you, guys. Thank you for having me on. It's a pleasure. It's also I mean, I do a lot like I mentioned to you before. I do conference call and meetings, Zoom meetings through coaching and all that stuff. But it's different when you do it on your platform, and my customers seeing it, your followers, my followers. So you know, but like you mentioned, staying in shape is just a mindset, kind of like my coach says, everything in life is a mindset, right? I came from starting my business, in 2016, out of being motivated, changing my mindset to really wanting something more for myself, a dream of mine. I've been working on cars since I was about 16 years old. I started with my brother back in the Caribbean, Dominican Republic, working on motorcycles and things like that. So, it's always been a passion of mine to do it. And I had a goal and a mindset of really wanting to do the business. I took a leap of faith in 2016, and with my wife's support, we opened, GR Auto Service in Marlboro, and the rest is history. You know what I mean? And I was working for a corporation. I felt that I was doing a lot for them, and it was not enough rewards for the little guys, at the bottom.
Hmm.
And that really drove me hard to push and set the goal and the mindset to do what I needed to do, and it got done. So anything you set your mind to do, it gets done, right?
Hmm.
So that's the first thing we have to change in life, our mindset. So with that being said, well, as you know, in the past, I had some health concerns with gallbladder stones. Obviously, being an athlete my whole life, I was able to work out with no problem. I was in the gym every single day, as I was working for somebody else. But when you open your business and you first start your business, and you don't know what you don't know, so you put in a lot of hours, you put in a lot of time into it, and sometimes you don't take care of yourself.
Mm.
But your body will be the one to tell you, hey man, you got to slow down and you got to take care of yourself. So that was a warning sign for me, like, hey, you got to put the brakes on you, boy. You know what I mean? and
Sure.
and get yourself back into taking care of yourself first.
Hmm.
Because if I don't fix myself, and mentally and physically, my business is going to suffer from it.
Hmm.
So we have a saying that we said, when you fix the owner, you fix the shop.
Hmm.
So you fix the owner of anything, you fix the business behind it.
Hmm.
So when that happened to me in 2022, it really put into perspective. I have young kids. My son is 1, my daughter's going to be 3, and it really put into perspective that life is very important. uh, you know Family is very important, and the business will be there. I can always take care of the business, but my family and my health is priority. So I made it a goal to really change my eating habits, I meal prep every single day.
Mm,
I get up early. I cook my breakfast, my lunch. I try to stay as healthy as possible. I get up early, right before I shower. I do at least a 15 to 20-minute workout in the house,
mm,
just to get the mind going, because, you know, it's so much that gets thrown at you. And, as a business owner, you get stones coming up from every angle. And
mhm.
sometimes you don't know what to do. You know what I mean? You're lost.
Right.
So you got to keep your composure and say, okay, let me focus on this first, so then I can focus on the rest.
Hmm.
So now I'm learning that I need to focus on myself, my body, my health, so that way my business will not suffer, my family will not suffer, because my mindset and my body and soul is good. So then I can take care of everything else. Because without me being good, being the pillar to my family and my business, then I cannot support them.
Absolutely.
Very
100%.
true.
So it all does start with the mindset. And I understand you and I spoke about a couple of weeks ago, cold showers. You want to just kind of touch on that a little bit? How,
Absolutely.
yeah.
I mean, it's not for the faint at heart,
Right.
but again, I'm sure Danielle can attest to that. You know,
It's
it's,
tough.
it is tough. It is tough. It's not for the faint of heart. But you know, just talking from different people in they've been I like to talk. I like to get ideas like from you. The same way we talk when you come in, and I like to get ideas, and somebody that I know say, hey, maybe you should try a cold shower. Cold shower is really good for you. These are all the benefits and that. I'm like, man, cold shower, that's a tough one. You know what I mean? Especially in the winter, right? We're in New
Right.
Jersey, where you get up in the morning and it's super cold, right? The last thing you want to do is put cold water on your body, right?
Sure. Right.
You know,
Exactly.
you,
Yep.
you want to run. You want to run to the shower. You want to turn the heat on. You want to put the water as
Sure.
hot as possible.
Hmm.
So I say, you know what? Let me try it. It's not, what can it hurt? I at least like to try things and see the benefits behind it, and I can judge and make the decision for myself. Okay, is it really making a benefit for me, and is it really doing good for my body, or it's just I'm doing it for doing it? So, I normally shower not really too hot. So I started like little by little, putting a little bit colder, gradually adjusting the water, until one day I say, you know what? Prepare the mind. Again, mindset.
That's
I
why I
said,
brought it up.
I told my mind, I said, you know what, mind? I'm warm. I'm strong. I'm just in this stage. I'm going to get up and go get it. You know what
Mm,
I mean? So when that water hits me, I'm not going to run out of that shower like a coyote, running across the street. I'm not going to take off, because it
right.
hits you, right? So,
Sure. Hmm.
and I gradually walk into it. By the end of the week, you know, I would do 2 3 minutes,
Wow. You're up
boom,
to
with that
a minute.
cold water, as cold as my body can possibly take,
Hmm.
and I would just sit there. I would think about something else. I'll
Mm,
think about, a task that I have to do. I will pretty much build my mind and prep. I will prep my body and build my mind for something else other than the cold water hitting my body.
mm, hmm.
Because if I was thinking about the cold water, it's going to be super cold. I'm going to be showering cold water. I possibly would not even do it,
Right.
because my mindset will tell me don't do it. You know what
Mm,
I mean? It's too cold. It's not gonna be good, or you're gonna come out of the shower. It's all about the mindset, right? It's all about what you set your mind to do, and you're gonna get it done. And I've been doing it now. Like, I think when I spoke to you for like 3 or 4 months,
mm,
and I really see the benefits on my joints.
mhm,
When I get up in the morning, my articulations, my blood flow.
mhm,
I don't hear my knees crackling anymore
mm.
and any of
Okay.
that stuff, because the inflammation of my body is all down.
Wow.
So it does wonder. I mean, whoever doesn't believe in, easy on into it, really get yourself going, and then you will see the changes that it's gonna do in your body. Eventually you're like, why didn't I do it sooner?
Absolutely. And it's all what I picked up from what you said, and I'm sure Danielle could agree, is all mindset. You know, you took a risk in starting your business. You were tired of living life the way you were. Kind of like, let's say, someone who's tired of their weight, right? They're just tired of
Yes,
looking in the mirror and not being happy with what they see. And they're not sure what's going to happen. They're not sure, but they're just sick and tired of being sick and tired. So they try something new. They get inspired and they like getting in that cold shower, right? It's hard
absolutely.
as hell, but you do it and you practice it every day with these with the cold shower as well, just doing things that are challenging for yourself because it makes you into a stronger person and helps you stay consistent, and you reap the rewards of working for yourself, right? And being able to be in control of your own time and knowing that you can do something, right, that you've set your mind to, because a lot of people sometimes, unfortunately, they don't have that confidence and they don't know what it looks like on the other side, but we don't know until we try. And when you try, you experience failure, like what you mentioned, stones get thrown at you, but you know, we get stronger with it because everyone goes through it, even if you're working for somebody else. So
Absolutely.
some really powerful stuff you mentioned. You also mentioned you make time to work out, time for your family, balanced.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And I didn't learn the balance until, life put me in the position that I was sitting in a hospital bed for 3 days, and really reminiscing, like, I know what I'm doing is worth it because I'm doing it for my family. But
Mm-hmm.
the way I'm going about it, is it really worth for me to put my body through all this, the stress level and everything, and really not be there for my family?
Mm-hmm.
So that's what makes you make a decision. And, in life, sometimes you got to look at yourself in the mirror. You got to speak to the person that you see through your eyes. And then you say, hey, Gardy, come on, let's go. Let's just do it. You know what I mean? Because we can all put excuses.
That's
We
right.
can all make um, excuses and and um, and pretty much avoid
Mm-hmm.
facing the hardships.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But you have to face it.
Mm-hmm.
You have to face it. You got to be positive. You got to have a positive mindset because times and tribulations don't last. Tough people do,
That's
right?
right. Mm-hmm.
So
Very.
nothing lasts forever. And the best you could be for yourself, we all aging, right? We're
Mm-hmm.
not getting any younger by every time the sun comes out and goes down, it's an extra day that we get a little older, right? So,
Mm-hmm.
my goal now is to at least get to 50, being able to feel as I feel right now. And I think I'm gonna get there because I feel, I'm a lot stronger than a 20-year-old man, and I can attest you that. I got 20-year-old mechanics working with us,
Mm-hmm.
and then sometimes I tell these guys, hey man, get on this pull-up bar. I have a little pull-up bar in the back of the shop. I say, get on here, do at
Right.
least one,
Right.
and those guys struggle to do one or two,
Mm-hmm.
because they haven't been put through the stuff that we have been put through.
Mm-hmm.
So, and they're still young, they're still in their 20s, they're not thinking about taking care of their health,
Mm.
their mind, you
Mm.
know. And I always tell them, I say, hey, you got to start now because look at me and use me as the experience of what could happen if you don't really take care of your body. You know what I mean? Because you only got one body, you only got one life, and you got to take care of it.
For sure, man.
Yes.
For sure.
And pain is the greatest teacher. So
Absolutely.
in your case, it's great that it helped you turn your life around and to get in better health for your family and for yourself.
Absolutely. It's a commitment.
Hmm.
You got to be committed. When you do something, you got to go 120% into it. And when you do it, the outcome is gonna be super positive. Like I said, you're gonna have little pebbles along the road, little hoops that you got to jump through,
Hmm.
but those are part of the process. There's a book that I think it's called like the pain is the process or something like that,
Mm-hmm.
or the stones is the process. Like, the hardship is the way, something like that. It's a very good book. I actually just bought it, and I'm
Mm.
going to read it. So, meaning the hardships that you go through life is the process of where you need to get. It's part of you growing as a person, as a human being.
Absolutely.
Hmm.
Absolutely. Very inspirational message, as you guys see. Thank you for coming on. We really appreciate it. It's just a useful amount of information, and we look forward to seeing you again. I'm going to see you tomorrow morning. And I'm excited about taking my bike out, motorcycle. So
Absolutely, absolutely. I'm fixing mine, so hopefully this year we can go on a ride together.
that would be great. That would be great, man, for sure.
Thank
Thank,
you, guys. Thank
thank
you
you
for having me.
for
Thank
sure.
you so
For sure,
much.
Gardy. Thank you,
Thank you,
man.
Gardy. Have a great night.
You
Have a great.
too, guys. Have a good evening.
Thank
Take care.
you.
Bye
Bye
bye.
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 So there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Mr. Gardy, GNR Auto, Marlboro, New Jersey. If you're local, check him out. Whether you need maintenance on your car or want to get something done, that's fun on the car. He's the man to go to. Very nice guy.
Yes.
And you see what health problems can do to you, if we don't work out, if we don't take care of ourselves. Right. It's not necessarily always about being overweight, right? You can sometimes cause stress and have symptoms from the stress from the foods we're eating or not eating and just not taking care of our body. So I hope that was the lesson for you guys, that you can take home with you, and process, right? And hopefully it can inspire you. You're welcome. Inspire you to continue on this journey of health and fitness. We love having you guys. Thank you for everyone who participated this evening. Thank you, Danielle.
Thank you.
And we look forward to seeing you next time. And if you could be so kind enough to post your biggest takeaway in the group, that would be great. And if you're watching this later, you can throw us a hashtag live. Thank you very much. And until next time,
Have a great night.
have a great night. And we'll see you later.
Bye.
Bye. Bye-bye.